Hello and welcome back to the Guns and Glory show. About to do a whole bunch of plumbing in the garage so that I don't have to do my dishes in a bucket. I'm gonna add the toilet over here, clean up that mess. I'm gonna put in a hot water heater and then hook that up to the tank in the backyard so I can get rid of the cylinders. And I'm gonna put a shower right here, build it out of those blocks, probably 7 feet high, about 2.5 on each side. And 3 wide, so it'll be just about 4 foot by 3-ish, which is plenty and cheap too. And then I've got the sink over here and the plumbing for it and the shower hanging out. I could do this all myself, but I got a friend coming up here that he's good at it, and all he's gonna have to do is look at it and say, all right, we'll go to the store and pick up what you need. So one less bug. We're getting ready to run the septic for the garage and for the cabin. Got to run a trench right about underneath the Camaro, not hit the power line, and then take it over there to the septic tank. It's right behind that tree over there. Anyway, I got to get back to it. We'll keep you posted as this project moves along. Well, they got that wire connected, run through some conduit, and then they ran the well wire above and over at my request because I didn't want to tear up this entire garage, meaning the kitchen, the fish tank, laundry room, and that whole wall would have to be torn out just for a wire. That's fine. I don't mind having that conduit up there. That's just dandy with me. Got the well here now, got the cabin here, and I will be canceling service at that trailer with UPCO, Upper Peninsula Power Company. That'll save me some money. The boys have been in here getting ready for the plumbing. We established the size of the shower. Try not to make everyone too dizzy. Got the hole drilled for the toilet drain. And look at that, I got me a toilet with a bidet or a bidet or whatever the heck you call it anyway. Have a clean butt. Oh, we got the septic can in the back. Getting ready to put the pump in it and then run the plumbing out to the septic and then into the garage. This is where the septic tank is, and the hole is where we're going to bring the garage dumper out to. And that was what we were going to do with the cabin too, but we met a sewage guy over at Menards, and he said, well, you can't pump that far up a hill with the pumps that you got. So we're going to have to go the other way. We're getting the septic line buried from the garage. Well, I guess they're coming from the tank this way. Okay, I've been over putting foam board in the cabin. Let's see what's got done over here. I think probably got a lot of plumbing in already. Yeah, it looks like it. Oof, sorry. A little rough around here. Cool. We finally got that trench dug for this little tiny wire. It sure is a big mess for such a little wire. It feeds the well now. It used to operate the switch. I got that in place for the shipping container wire. Okay, in order to avoid drilling like many large holes in the concrete, we decided to set this up like this. The vents there, and then the drain for the shower, the washing machine, the sink come up there. Obviously the toilet sits on top. So I'm going to make a little, basically a little floor for the thing. And I've got the height for that just about figured out with the plywood on top. And there will be a little bit of a step in front of it. We'll probably use a block or two to create that. So the toilet will be a bit of a throne. And it saved us a whole bunch of work, because otherwise you got to run all that drain and vent all the way through under the floor, and yeah, this is just a better solution for that. Unfortunately, this wasn't very level. The guy that put it in was in a hurry, not understanding that if you slow down you go faster. And so I'm gonna have to build this whole thing by trimming one end of that wider than the other and setting the whole floor in and the toilet at just a little bit of an angle. I've got this deck made. Come out in the right spot too. And once I get this all glued up, that'll come out right at the top of that deck. Got a nice bead of liquid nails on that thing. That'll glue it to the floor. And then I'll just fill in the gap with some great stuff. Squared up and glued down. Best to leave it alone right now. Let it sit. I got the vent. It's headed out to where the washing machine used to dump out into the backyard. The washing machine now dumps into the drain, where it ought to. And now I'm preparing the shower with its drain and its P-trap. It'll be oriented more like that. And then it heads out that way. So this is going to be quite a bit higher than the floor, just like the toilet. So I'll put about 4 inches of sand in this bay, pack it down, and then put another couple inches of concrete. I'll take that right up to about here, and then I'll get some dry pack, I guess that's what they call it, and make everything slope into the drain. Got that section tied up, and I put a couple of support blocks underneath to hold the weight. And now we're on to the utility tub, which is over there. Got that thing filled with concrete and almost forgot to put on video. And I got that thing glued down. About to knock the center out of it. And we'll screw down this top here and place the toilet. Well, I got the drains completed in the garage, and now I got to get the water feed to everything. I got the toilet sitting there. I haven't filled it with water yet because it's getting late, and if that thing leaks at this point, I don't want to spend the next 2 or 3 hours trying to figure out why it doesn't work. For some reason, it wanted to sit high, so I added a couple of little sheets of plywood under it, and that got it to sit down properly. I don't know if it's right or not. I think it is, but I've never done it before, so we'll see tomorrow. Okay, I got the toilet in. It works. About time. You got this squirt gun thing, so you gotta be careful, those sneak up on you. And I got the sink working, at least the cold half. I don't have the hot water heater yet. Getting that shower base laid out. I'll have to cut a couple of custom blocks and try to fit them nice and tight around those pipes. But this is basically the layout. It should be plenty big enough. Got that corner block cut out, and I took a little cut off and trimmed that up to fit in there. I don't know, this block thing ain't so bad after all. We found a bunch of sand in the backyard with this wire lathe. Just able to dump it on the top, give it a shake, and kick the rocks off it. This will work out pretty good for the mortar, and it's free. So I got the first course in, and that's enough. It's about 9 o'clock, and I'm pooped. My back really hurts too, so that's it for me today. It went better than last time. For one thing, I misread the label, and I had like 4 parts mortar to 1 part sand in the kitchen area, and then I got this one right at about 2.5 sand to 1 mortar. I got a couple of big buckets of sand for the mortar. I can't believe how lucky I am to have this. It's so easy to spread. The driveways, however, are going to be a little bit more of a problem. Right, we're in the shower in the garage. We've got all the lines laid out with the laser. We're going to go from the drain up to this edge with up to 3.5 inches of dry pack, which puts us about right here under the drain. And then 3.5 inches of concrete under that, and then a bed of sand 7 inches, so that I don't have to put in like 10.5 inches of concrete, because that would be expensive. Well, I got the sand in it, 3 wheelbarrows full. It's not wheelbarrow, it's wheelbarrow, because a barrow is another name for a donkey. I figure the rest of it out. I compacted this 3 times. I put about 3.5 inches in it and smashed the hell out of it. And same thing again. And then I put another about 1.5 inches, got it down to its level. Now I've got to set the other blocks into place. Good thing I don't have a cat. I cut 3 blocks to get around this pipe. This was fun. Simple, I got a diamond blade for the skill saw, but fun. And finally that one. I got the second course of block in, so the shower base is done. I've got to put the concrete in it and slope it, and I've been thinking about how to protect it from water leakage, because concrete really isn't waterproof, but I haven't got that answer yet, so we'll figure it out as I go. I got that wire mesh in place, setting up on a couple of bricks to keep it in the center. Everything is marked out, and we're ready for the base layer of concrete. 7 bags of crack resistant concrete later, and I've got it right up to the level that I wanted it, 3.5 inches deep. The rest of it will be dry pack, and we'll establish the slope with that. I've never used that before, so we'll see how it goes. A lot of this stuff on this job is the first time for me. I needed 1 step into the shower, and I figured if I left those gaps in there like that, you could just stand there and dry off when you're done with it, and the water won't get out. I actually took a tool and I made a little like trough on both sides of that, ramped it up to keep the water inside of there. You might put a fan on it if you really felt like it, dry it out of there, but it's probably overkill. I wanted a nice even edge instead of this rough concrete to use the tool to slope the concrete into the drain. So I took the piece of bed frame, just cut it to fit, and the edge of the board will ride that nice and smooth all the way around. It fits on all 4 sides. That's 100 concrete blocks for the shower, 26 pounds each. Just about ready to finish up the floor in the shower. I couldn't find any dry packs, so I got concrete. I'm going to put a scoop of mortar in it, 2 scoops of sand, and mix it up that way. I don't usually see another layer of screen in here like that, but this is going to be 3.5 inches thick at one point, so I figured I'd put that in there just to make me feel better. Just about ready to get the concrete wet, and I made all these little, I guess they call it a screed for floating the concrete, getting it level. Being that the drain pipe is in the center, in the back, I had to make a whole bunch of these, so I went up with 12 of them. So I've spent the last hour or so messing around with that. I hope they work. I'd say it turned out real well. To be honest, it turned out better than I expected. Let's do the walls now. Making pretty good progress with this shower. I painted those steps glow in the dark so I wouldn't trip over them. Turned out to be a pretty good idea. I got the seat installed and level. A couple more courses up, I'll put some kind of a little nook for the shampoo bottles and stuff like that. So we're getting there. That'll be the curtain rod. It's just a piece of 3/4 inch black iron pipe for running gas line with. I'll get a drill bit just a little bit bigger than that, make a hole in each side of 2 blocks and capture it. This is an ultra high efficiency hot water heater on demand. I don't see any point in heating up a body of water and having it standing there all day for maybe use it once or twice, or if you're not even home, you're not even using it, you're just paying it to keep it warm. This thing, I've never installed one of these things before, but it seems to be relatively straightforward, and it came with a really good instruction manual. Very in-depth, very detailed, so I'm pretty happy with it. The shower is getting bigger. I had a little bit of trouble with it though. The seat cracked loose, so I'll redo that when I'm finished building the walls. Get enough time to sit there without being bothered, sat on or stepped on, used for a ladder and so on. That one was a little bit far forward. That whole row was giving me a fit, so I gave it a little kick and broke that block out. It's been sitting there all night. I figured it would have been good enough, but like I said, I'm new at this. So I redid it, and to make myself feel better, I filled all of these cavities full of quick dry cement. That way it goes down in between these all and locks them all together. Make me feel a little bit better about this thing being more solid. Getting ready to put the next couple of courses of blocks on. And this one has to be a little bit specific because I have to run these pipes through the holes in the block in order to locate where I need to drill to get through the corner blocks. I just lined that up with it and spray painted it on both sides. This is at a nice comfortable height. I still don't know what I'm going to do for the block above it so that I can run the shower sprayer up inside the wall. I'll make some kind of a header, I guess, but we'll figure it out. In the garage, October 8th, 2024, and I'm setting up to run the water over the water heater and everything else. We've got this type of pipe coming in to feed the water to the garage through the floor behind the washing machine. This is a irrigation line. It's thinner. That's what's feeding the cabin right now. Different subject, but that's sitting here. What I'd like to do is have the two showers not arguing with each other when you turn one on and the other one. I don't want it competing. I want to have it like two different showers. So we've got this manifold thing, and obviously the valves, it comes in 3/4, comes out 1/2 inch. Gonna have one on the hot side, gonna have one on the cold side. So I got the pipe coming in behind the washer. I'm gonna cut it, put a T in it, a barb T, 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch, and then connect this to a short piece of pipe. That just threads in and it gets you started on the PEX, which connects up with a ring, a copper ring that you clamp on with this tool here, and it winds up like those. So we're coming off of this with a T, head straight into this one. This will be cold. That will take off and feed the water heater, cold side. And then this, with another one of these, will come out of the hot water heater, like so, and will supply everything in the house. Oh, by the way, this is an electrical box. Those things will fit right into it. You can save yourself a whole bunch of money if you use irrigation line for conduit. Just a little free tip. This thing is pretty cool looking. I'll give it that. But I wanted 1/2 inch going out to everything except for the hot water heater, which wanted the 3/4, so that's what we got. Got the hot water heater stuck to the wall, and I got the cord just kind of hanging out. There's a plug right there, but I can't use it because there's too much stuff on that circuit, and it said right in the manual, do not use it on a GFI. So I got to run one from the outside outlet through a conduit on the outside, because I am not tearing up that wall again to put a wire in it. I didn't have any 90s, so I grabbed a bag of 45s, and then I stuck this short little piece in there to find exactly where to put that mark. Now I gotta go ahead and drill the holes. Got the intake and exhaust in, nice and clean. Finish that up with a little bit of caulk and be good. I'm going to cut a little circle out of this wire lath and stick it in the intake and exhaust to keep stuff out of it. Just like that. Intake is headed down, exhaust is going up. I got that screen in there, put that straight down. I want the exhaust a little farther away though, so we're going to put a little pipe in there. And I ran out of 45s, so I used a section out of a P-trap, but I had to put the grate on the inside next to that pipe, which will be fine. I changed my mind at the last minute. I wanted to get the air intake for the hot water heater away from the exhaust for the dryer. So I put an extension piece on it and aimed that 45 off at a little bit of an angle. The outside outlet box for the garage goes to the circuit box with a 12 gauge wire, and I'll use the extra 10 gauge wire that I had for this project. Into the conduit and over here to this box. One going down feeds the septic pump, and the one headed into the garage feeds the hot water heater. And there we have it, a new plug for the hot water heater. In the garage, working on the cold water, this 3/4 NPT national pipe thread and the barb fitting will go into this thing. This will get me back to the PEX B. We headed to that T fitting right there. That's going to replace that hose and go across to that. Now that will feed the hot water heater after going through that filter. The other side of the T will go up to that manifold right there. Now I've got the condensate drain in here, and there's a P-trap there because I need a coupler to turn that, and I didn't have it, so I stuck that in there. And that goes through the toilet vent actually. And then the hot water emergency valve will get plumbed in. Well, probably tomorrow. I got the hot water side of the system plumbed in. I used a 1-inch irrigation line to make that together because I couldn't quite figure it out, frankly. Some of you plumbers are probably giggling at me. I'm sure it's a simple answer. But nevertheless, that was mine and the problem is solved. So I need to start running that orange line all over the place to feed hot and cold to everywhere. I only needed 3 of the 4 valves. One of them's going to go to the sink, 2 to the shower. The toilet's already plugged in, so is the washing machine. So the extra one, I decided to run over here to the fish tank. I'll just get a valve, stick it right there, and I won't have to fiddle around with filling this thing up. I really wanted to keep the hose for fire prevention, so I added a T and a nipple underneath it. Now we've got the cold water hooked up to the system. I'm about to turn the water on and see if we have any leaks. I hate this part. Alright, well I put the water in it, and the only leak I got was in that manifold at one of the solder joints. So for the first time ever, nothing that I put together actually leaked. It's October 12th, 2024, by the way. I had to cut this block special to accommodate the shower valve and the plumbing that goes with it. And now we have it with the plumbing in place. With a little bit of spray paint from the target range, we have the hot and cold lines marked. Now I've got both of the shower valves plumbed in, and we'll place the 2 blocks around them in the morning. I don't feel like messing with it. Now I've got the shower valves blocked in on both sides. I also made sure to give myself enough room to change this thing out if I had to. Well, I got the gas line started, with the shutoff valve conveniently right next to the thermostat, and up there somewhere, there's the 90. Head over that way. I'm going to run it across the ceiling because it's a whole bunch easier than moving all that junk. That part of the gas line is in. The valve is around behind stuff, so you don't bang into it. The flexible line is just hanging out right there for a minute until I get the rest of that run. I got the nook for the shampoo and body wash kind of laid out, but instead of having the 4 bricks on the bottom there, I'm going to substitute that with a block. Less mortar to work with and less possibility with the leak. I'm going to put 1 course of brick around the perimeter on the top to make a little shelf. The shampoo and body wash nook is almost done. I had to put this little piece in here because this is actually past the back of this block, leaving that open right here. I'll have to fill that in with some mortar, so I gave that a little bit of the backer. I've got both of the sidewalls finished. That nozzle is in place, and I got the curtain rod in it quite permanently. I'm not putting that nozzle in there just yet because I want that mortar to set up first. So I'm in the shower working on things here. Let me zoom out just a little bit. And I realize that water's going to come out of that thing, hit me in the head, and bounce over the shower curtain rod and land on the floor. And I'm not going to be happy at all. So I figure if I put a little bar across the top and a short skirt made out of a shower curtain, that ought to solve it. And so I went digging around in the stuff, found this 1/2-inch steel bar. I'll polish it and paint it. And it's just wide enough to go up there. I just got to drill 2 holes in it without knocking them corner blocks out. Won't quite go all the way across, but it doesn't need to, so we'll make that work. Now this is the shower head that I'm currently using that's hooked up to that one. And we'll compare it to when it's hooked up to that one. It ain't too bad. Wash yourself off okay with it. It's better for washing a cup, but we'll compare the before and after. That's how much water we got coming out of the old hot water heater. We compare it to how much we're going to get out of the new one. Should be more like the cold side there. I got the back wall finished. I really like how that little nook turned out. That's pretty clever. I wanted a towel bar, so I went looking around in all my junk, and I found that musical triangle and set that in the mortar. I got to set the top course of bricks on this thing to finish it up, and put that other shower curtain rod in. I was going to put it in here, but that's not going to work because that's just going to drip and wind up outside. So I'm going to try to drill a hole in it about here. Now a little bit higher, probably right about here. On both sides, hopefully it'll break it. And then we can put the bar in it. Well, I got both the shower heads working. And it drains out nice. But I've got a bad shower valve here. It shuts off when it's pointing up. Kinda, but never completely. Whereas this one works just fine. Rats, I got a bad shower valve. I'm glad I put 2 of those things in there. At least I can use the one on the right until I can afford to get the one on the left fixed. Really glad I put that top course of bricks on there. Made it look nice. The back wall is pretty straight. This wall is pretty straight. But the trouble with those bricks is it shows how not straight this wall is. I never built a concrete wall before, it shows. Well, it'll serve as a reminder for me to be more careful with my measuring, my levels, and my squares. I went down to Walmart and looked down in the parking lot, this little piece of paper. It turned out to be one of those little Menards rebate cards for $87. So I bought one of those shower valves that I was missing. How about that? October 21st, 2024. I got to put the upper curtain rod in. I just finished the seat. Only this time I put it in straight. All I gotta do now, besides that curtain rod, is let this thing dry and then paint it. Wanted to clean this thing up before I painted it. Knock all the extra grout down. So I grabbed this wire brush on the angle grinder and scoured it. Of course I got it wet first so it wouldn't cloud the place out. It looks a lot nicer, it's a lot smoother, and each of the blocks has more of a definition, for lack of a better term. Oh yeah, I got that secondary curtain rod up in there. I had to drill a hole in that side, about 2 inches deep, and then I had to go all the way through that side to feed it through. I just packed it full of mortar, made sure it was level, and then gave it a quick top coat of paint. And the hot water heater works. Finally, I got that one disconnected. I'll take it down after a while. And I've got some decent water flow up in here. That's going to be pretty refreshing. It'll get you wet in a hurry. And I've also got an acceptable amount of water pressure here at the sink. And that's hot too. So, all I got to do now, I'm going to put a skim coat of concrete on the inside of that, just like I did on those blocks down there. Only it won't be quite as sharp. And then I'm going to put the epoxy paint on top of that. So about a week and this thing will be finished.